Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we do need to take a look at the new Quicksilver synergy that seemingly has taken Scarlet Witch to new heights. And the essence of it is quite simple. Every single time Whale of Fortune triggers, you have 50% chance to gain a prowess buff, granting 100% special attack damage for 15 seconds. And the end result can be quite silly, obviously. So here I was just getting hit on purpose just to kind of see whether that is a bit better way of getting damage. But let's take a look at here. So that is a 5-star rank 5 Scarlet Witch. And we are gonna go for a special 2. Wow, 1 million damage. That's not even the most amount of damage I have done with Scarlet Witch. In this fight, we are about to see another nice special attack. Obviously, it is RNG dependent. It is, you know, entirely RNG and crit dependent, basically. But here we go, 1.287 million. And even that is not the biggest special attack that I have thrown. I didn't get to record these last couple of fights, but this one was 1.1 million. And then with class disadvantage against Hulk, 1.3 million. So obviously I was kind of messing around. You can do these fights very, very quickly. Some of the Realm of Legend fights you can finish in like 15, 14 seconds. And again, it is very, very RNG based. So here I'm just gonna let Scarlet Witch gameplay play out in background. It's also going to be a good demonstration of how like an average fight is going to go with Scarlet Witch, because I didn't necessarily have the best run through Labyrinth of Legends here, but even that only took about 10 minutes or so. So take it for what you will, I suppose. But Scarlet Witch can definitely pack a massive mega punch. And I will be also 100% honest in the fact that I had tremendous amount of fun trying to throw the biggest level 2 that you can. Kind of got me hooked and addicted, and I think in total already since this synergy came out, I have done that for like 3 or 4 hours. Once you get in the rhythm, you try out different synergies, you see what works out for best, you try out different strategies, and the big yellow numbers has its lure, as I will say. And before anything else, before whether, Kabam should nerf it, Kabam shouldn't nerf it, whether this is perfectly fine and balanced, whether it's not, and all of that stuff, I just want to make sure that we acknowledge... Oh, here, I think that was a bad first round. So here we go. I'm gonna go here again. So this is a sub 10-minute Realm of Legends run, by the way. But before all of that, we just kind of need to acknowledge the fact that it is insanely fun. Now, I do fully acknowledge and understand that people who do not spend money on this game have yet to have access to this synergy. Because only way you can have 5-star Quicksilver or a 6-star Quicksilver is if you did buy early access bundles. So there aren't all that many people, I think, who can do this. You need to have 5-star Scarlet Witch, you need to have Quicksilver, and in order for you to have had a chance to get Quicksilver, you need to have spent $50 for an early access bundle. That being said, it's so goddamn fun. And it would be a real shame if Kabam did anything with this synergy before more people get a chance to play it out with. But again, from the other perspective, it's one thing if Kabam makes any decision regarding this situation whatsoever, only whilst they have had early access bundles. And it will be much bigger and complex situation if they do anything about this synergy once arenas have come and gone, once featured, Cavalier crystals have been sold, and makes much bigger problem. I have heard a ton of opinions. There are people who think this is perfectly fine, balanced, no problem. We have a ton of champions who do crazy damage. Why not let Scarlet Witch be one of them? Which I kind of want to go with as well, to a degree. But again, I completely understand everyone who is saying that this is stupid, this is imbalanced, and this is quite crazy. Now, what I want to highlight is that it would be hypocritical of me not to bring up the same pain and problem points that I bring up for instance, with Agent Venom. Agent Venom has grabbed many people. Super hype. It is a trinity that takes a borderline useless champion into an amazing damage dealing machine. And this is a very similar situation. Because currently, Agent Venom is like one of the highest damage output champions in, significant amount of fights, with no rank up required, with nothing. Just hit the opponent, damage will come type of situation. No skill required, other than having 2 synergies with you. Some of ridiculously quick Labyrinth of Legend skills. There are some ridiculously quick, quest clears, and there are some very impressive gameplay footage with Agent Venom. And whenever I was to discuss Agent Venom situation, I always empathized that it hardly works anywhere. You can't really do it, for instance, in Eternity of Pain, because in Eternity of Pain you only bring in 1 champion, or in the final week you need to bring in 3, but as long as, there is single one small roadblock, you cannot complete it. For instance, in case of Agent Venom Trinity, there is no champion that would get rid of Warlock's armor up. Therefore, you can't do no damage to Warlock, and you can't use it in Eternity of Pain. At the same time, Agent Venom will not, mean anything in Battlegrounds, just like Cable doesn't mean anything in Battlegrounds. At the same time, only very few people would be able to use Agent Venom Trinity in Alliance Quest, for instance, because if you need, somebody else for any of the paths or fights on your paths, you just cannot bring in a full dedicated Trinity for Alliance Quest if there is a single thing that, could stop in your way. For instance, if there is a buffed up node or lane or path that you need to clear in any of the sections, you just cannot bring that in. Quite often you need very specific counters, especially in higher maps in Alliance Quest, to be able to counter all of the lanes. Similarly, in Alliance War, yes, it is possible that an officer could plan you the specific fights that Agent Venom can do, but in majority of the situations, that would be far from the best or optimal strategy for the team. And if that, there might be one person who occasionally gets to bring in Agent Venom Trinity. And it's the same thing with Scarlet Witch. Because to get these stupid, crazy results, you don't only need Quicksilver synergy. You need the rest of them as well. If you only bring in Quicksilver synergy, you're not going to get anything this crazy with Scarlet Witch, because you need increased ability accuracy or increased crit rates. So for vast majority of the lanes, you would need a fully dedicated team to be able to do this. And unlike Agent Venom, Scarlet Witch doesn't even really would work that well for Abyss or for Labyrinth, because obviously of the damage caps, and she has single hit special attacks. So do I think the existence of this synergy causes massive game imbalance right now? Not really. And, I'm not just saying it because, I have 5-star Scarlet Witch and I want big yellow numbers. Obviously, it is ridiculously fun, but this only can really shine in very limited spaces, and that's in story content. And Kabam has long since kind of made story content fairly specific. Yes, there will be some paths that Scarlet Witch can now go and absolutely destroy in maybe Act 6 or Act 7. But we have had shit ton of champions that just make a mockery of Act 6 and Act 7 paths specifically, based on some lanes. We have champions that completely abuse Icarus nodes. We have champions, like CGR, that whenever you can use CGR, you probably just get nuke everything, so on and so forth. And Scarlet Witch, team like this, would have quite a lot of limitations. If you actually get in Act 6, you would not be able to bring in Scarlet Witch more so than you would be able to bring in Scarlet Witch, is where I'm trying to get. If you need any immunity, for instance, this entire setup falls apart. If you need, specific debuffs or damage over time effects, this entire setup falls apart. If there's damage mitigation nodes or something like that, this pretty much loses its point. There will be some paths that you can absolutely shred, of course, but at the same time, most of the paths could be shred by some champions. So ultimately, and also on a personal perspective, having access to all of this setup, if I would see a lane that Scarlet Witch could do, would I bring in Scarlet, which is like my first option? Or, for instance, if Act 8 comes out and there's a lane that, favors Mystic champions, would I automatically go Scarlet Witch? Probably not. And this setup, I'd probably just bring in, still the Dr. Dooms, the Diablos, the Claires, the whatnots, to make sure that I have more than one champion in case, I do slip up, I do mess up, in case something bad happens, I don't have to revive the Scarlet Witch or something like that. So, to a very certain degree, to a very specific level, I do think that people exaggerate the brokenness and the overpoweredness of this thing. Because again, we do have a ton of champions that go stupid uber mega mode, with full synergy teams already in the game. Maybe not any champions that, have a single crit like this, but overall, when it comes to damage output, we have Hellas, we have, CGRs that are amped, we have, I don't know, whole bunch of champs that have just ridiculous amounts of damage if you dedicate an entire team to it. The point is, we typically don't, because most of the time we can't. We definitely can't do this in any game modes that matter most. It's only realistically the story content where we can kind of get away with it. And, story content's not necessarily personally my biggest worry of a balancing issue. If somebody can nuke story content, it's fine. I'm not that fussed about it. Again, I do understand people who think this is too crazy. I do understand also the kind of psychological impact this leaves, first of all, to people who do not have access to Quicksilver, immediately feeling like they're missing out on this huge, mega, amazing, super special thing. I do understand that there are, people worried that Scarlet Witch is going to take over the game, which again, I don't think is going to happen. And realistically, now all of that has led to many summoners basically going to Kabam forums and, asking what's happening with the synergy, whether it is going to get nerfed, so on and so forth. And there have been like 8 threads open about the subject. And we have had some Kabam responses on this as well, with the kind of base, most important, saying that the synergy is under a microscope. That is a reply from Kabam Jax here, that I am going to pull up right here. And it's possible that here we go. That synergy is currently under a microscope. That's all we know at this time. We'll let you know when we have more info. Which, well, first of all, again, it's kind of unacceptable. Like, they should have known this is going to happen. They should have had already ready statement. If they intend to keep it this way, they should say, we did the testing, we did, consider the implications, and we're fine with this. But the fact that it is under a microscope right now just doesn't quite smell right for me. It doesn't seem that Kabam, knows what they're doing. To me, actually, it kind of seems like, with a response like this, it implies that Kabam was unaware of the amount of damage Scarlet Witch would be able to do, because nobody there had the decency or time to actually test out the synergy properly. Again, all that being said, however, I can see 2 things happening. One, I can see this synergy being left unchanged. I can easily see that. And I don't think that, the entire game is going to turn into, oh my god, you have to use Scarlet Witch. I truly don't. Because endgame content has a ton of nuance to it. Or I can see them putting on a cap on it. Let's say 5 prowess. Which would still give Scarlet Witch some crazy amount of damage, just not like in terms of millions. But again, I wish to implore people to try out Scarlet Witch just with Quicksilver, just those 2 champions. And again, see that you're not going to get as crazy of a damage. You need, again, some increase in ability accuracy or critical rating to get, the bonkers busted things. So I'm not entirely sure, in conclusion, I'm not 100% convinced what I would do if I was in charge of game balance. At the same time, I can understand the arguments of both sides, but I do think that currently the panic spreaders of this must-go nerf are overselling it quite significantly. And as always, the biggest setback of all of this is the fact that it does require a setup. It does, as in like a full team setup in order to be able to pull these things off. And that's just an impossibility in majority of consequential content. Therefore, even if Scarlet Witch doesn't, get altered, do I see everybody in tier 1 and 2 Alliance Wars bringing in Scarlet Witches for attack? No, absolutely not. Do I see everybody using Scarlet Witch in Alliance Quest? Absolutely not. Do I see Scarlet Witch dominating Battlegrounds? Impossible. Synergy is not allowed. You see what I'm getting at? I do think that, if the synergy is left unchanged, eventually there will be some big piece of content that she might be very good for. She wouldn't be the only champion that's good for it. So, let me know what you guys think. And yeah, I still need to ponder a bit more on this, therefore I'll definitely be interested in your comments. I'll catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the